I'm Will Helixon. I'm the founder of the law office of Will M. Helixon. We are the warrior advocates. You defend the nation. We defend you. So, I've been asked, where am I from? I was born in East Lansing, Michigan, and only lived there briefly before my family moved to Texas. We moved to Fort Worth, Texas before I started kindergarten. And about the same time, my mom and dad got a divorce. I had a little brother. He was 2 years younger than me. We moved in with mom, and then dad stayed in Fort Worth while mom moved to the Houston area. So I would say that I grew up shuttling between Houston, Texas and Fort Worth, Texas. I call Houston home. Overseas, I've lived in Germany in several locations, Italy, and I've been deployed to Honduras, Hungary, and Afghanistan. So where do I live now? Well, today I live in the beautiful town of Wiesbaden, Germany. I live here with my wife and 2 stepsons. Why did I become a lawyer? Well, I've always wanted to be a lawyer from as early of a time as I can remember. I remember sitting in the living room as a child watching the black and white version of Perry Mason and thinking to myself, that's what I wanted to do when I grew up. I remember in 3rd grade, we were required to write an essay about what we wanted to do when we became adults. And I wrote about becoming a lawyer. I've always wanted to protect people, keep them safe, and have an impact on the world in a positive way. And I always felt being a lawyer is the best way to do that. Where did I go to school? Well, I graduated from Burleson High School in 1983. And after Burleson High School, I attended Houston Christian University in Houston, Texas. I attended that university for 2 years before transferring to the University of North Texas. At the University of North Texas, I studied communication and public address, and I was a debater, both in high school and in college. At the University of North Texas, I completed my degree in 1988, where I was awarded the Top Communication Scholar Award and the Top Communication Service Award. After finishing my graduate studies, I then attended the South Texas College of Law in Houston. It was a school that's ranked in the top 10 of advocacy schools nationwide, and I went there to learn how to be a trial lawyer. I got my JD there and completed law school in 1993. Later in life, in 2005, I would attend the Judge Advocate General's Legal Center and School, commonly known as the JAG School, for the graduate course for the United States Army. And there I earned a Master's of Law in Military Law with an emphasis in criminal law. What did I do in school? Well, in high school, I was a debater. I also competed in forensics, which meant extemporaneous speaking and original oratory. So I did this as my extracurricular activity. I focused singularly and solely on debating and making speeches for competitions. Later in college, I did the same thing. I debated for 4 years in college, attending 15 tournaments a year, debating approximately 600 rounds in my college career, and qualified 2 times for the National Debate Tournament. As I mentioned earlier, I was also the student government president at the University of North Texas. What did I do before joining the Army? Well, there are a couple of projects that I had in my life at the time. First, I had a small jury consulting business with a colleague of mine. We incorporated education and the experience that we had from debate and from studying communication into assisting lawyers pick a jury for a particular case. We did that for about a year while I was still in law school. Right before I graduated, I was also hired on a capital murder criminal defense team. I was the 3rd lawyer on the team, responsible for drafting the motions and doing most of the research that was necessary for setting up our appellate rights. I also participated in interviewing witnesses and helping build the mitigation case. After law school, I then formed my own criminal defense firm with a partner, and I practiced in Houston, Texas for 3 years before joining the Army. I tried about 15 to 20 cases, ranging from rape to sexual assault to domestic violence to abuse of a child. Also had a case that involved aggravated assault. I also defended several DUI cases during that period of time. Why did I join the Army? Well, the Helixon family has a legacy of military service. I have several uncles and cousins who have served in the military, and I felt like it was something that had always been in the back of my mind that I thought at the time was appropriate for me to pursue. My business had just suffered a major blow by my business partner liquidating all the funds out of our operating account, creating a significant hardship on me to keep the firm running. So I felt like it was time for a change. So I went to the recruiter and I enlisted, and I joined the Army as a 71 Delta at the time, and that was a paralegal. I had this sense of obligation, this sense of duty that helped drive me down to the recruiter's office. And I'll tell you, it was the teamwork and the camaraderie that I found in the military that's just lacking in the civilian world for the most part. That's why I joined the military. So what did I do in the military? Well, as an enlisted soldier, I was a paralegal. I was assigned to Fort Knox, Kentucky, where I served as a brigade paralegal for both the 1st Armored Training Brigade and the 16th Cavalry Regiment. I did that for approximately a year. I was also then deployed to Honduras in support of Joint Task Force Bravo. I was there for 6 months, where I served as the secretary for the Joint Staff. The commander of Joint Task Force Bravo found out that I was a lawyer, and when he found out I was a lawyer, he made me his secretary for the Joint Staff, firing the Air Force captain that was in the position before me. I had a great opportunity to learn from one of the best commanders in the world, and I took every moment of that deployment and learned leadership. I learned compassion, and I learned how to treat soldiers. In 1998, I assessed into the JAG Corps as an officer. I was promoted from corporal to first lieutenant, and then I went to the JAG school in July of 1998. There I completed the officer basic course and graduated top of my class. My first duty assignment after the basic course was Fort Polk, Louisiana. At Fort Polk, I served as a claims attorney, the interim chief of administrative law, and the labor counselor. So my first job as the claims attorney, I also had responsibility for advising the hospital commander with respect to different matters that were common in the hospital, dealt with paying of claims of malpractice, legal and medical ethics as they applied in the setting at the hospital, and what to do with providers who seemed to be impaired or had issues maintaining their credentialing. As the chief of administrative law, I provided advice to investigating officers and the general advice that you would provide the garrison commander about how to run his operations there in the garrison environment. This included providing legal reviews of actions they wanted to take with respect to private organizations, the use of government equipment, and the use of TMPs and military aircraft. As a labor counselor, I represented the government in EEOC and MSPB hearings on post. In 2000, I deployed to Hungary in support of Operation Joint Forge. In Hungary, I served as an assistant command judge advocate, performing mainly trial counsel responsibilities, and I also provided legal assistance to U.S. troops stationed in Sarajevo, Bosnia. It was a 6-month rotation, in which time I learned a lot about being overseas. This, in fact, was my first tour in Europe after having just completed a tour in Honduras. In 2000, I was assigned to the 1st Infantry Division in Bamberg, Germany. There I served a year as the administrative law attorney, providing routine administrative law opinions and advising investigating officers. In addition, I provided advice with respect to reports of survey, now called FLIPLs, and other lines of duty investigation. In 2003, I was assigned as the senior defense counsel in Hanau, Germany. I had 3 lawyers that were working for me, and we provided legal services throughout the Frankfurt area of Germany. After I completed my tour as a senior defense counsel, I was sent to the JAG school for the graduate course. At the graduate course, that is where I got my Master's of Law in Military Law with an emphasis in criminal law. After the graduate course, I was assigned to the 173rd Airborne Brigade Combat Team in Vicenza, Italy. I served there for a little over 2 years. While I was in Italy, I was the brigade judge advocate. I spent the first 6 months ramping up to deploy. And then the last 16 months I spent in Afghanistan serving as the legal advisor to the brigade commander. We were headquartered at Fob Fenty in Jalalabad, Afghanistan, where we spent most of our time trying to build relationships with the Afghan people, build roads, enhance security, and establish the rule of law within the court system and the law enforcement system. In 2008, I was PCSed to Washington, D.C., where I served as the chief of the Defense Counsel and Assistance Program. As chief of DCAP, I was responsible for developing and implementing the training plan for all the criminal defense lawyers in the United States Army. This included designing programs of instruction for different course materials and for delivering those course materials at various conferences throughout the year. In 2010, I was assigned to Grafenwehr, Germany as a special victim prosecutor. My role as a special victim prosecutor was to prosecute all the cases of sexual and domestic violence in Germany, Italy, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Kuwait. I did this for 3 years, trying about 36 cases during my tenure as a special victim prosecutor. I'll tell you, when you're dealing with the prosecution of cases of sexual violence, it takes a toll on your psyche. And that was a very difficult tour for me, dealing with nothing but sexual assault cases. It was a real break for me to move to Washington as part of First Corps at JBLM. At JBLM, I was kind of in a holding pattern, finishing up one major case that I was working on while waiting to take the bench as a military judge. I never took the bench as a military judge because there was a dispute between me and the JAG Corps on how I was handling the prosecution of this particular case. Ultimately, it led to me resigning from active duty and joining the military reserves. So in 2014, I completed my active duty time in the United States Army with 18 years of active service. So in 2014, I then moved to Overland Park, Kansas. I went to work for a small financial services firm as their corporate counsel, and I also served as the training officer for the 8th Legal Operations Detachment out of Independence, Missouri. I continued to serve in the reserves until I ultimately retired in August of 2022. So in 2015, after about a little over a year serving as a corporate counsel, I opened my own firm, the Law Office of Will M. Helixon. And since then, we've been practicing military law within the United States and in Germany. The firm started in Kansas City, and then in 2018, when I moved to Germany, I brought the firm with me. So at various times in the growth and the contraction of the firm, we've had as many as 7 lawyers, and it's been as few as just myself. Today we have, in addition to myself, 4 lawyers who work for the Law Office of Will M. Helixon, and together we represent a variety of military clients, from military justice matters to administrative law matters to adverse administrative actions. So why did I establish the Law Office of Will M. Helixon? Well, in 2015, I did it to follow my passion. I love trying cases. I love defending warrior clients. I love defending soldiers who have defended the United States of America. Defending America's warriors is a duty of mine, and I take it very serious. I love standing up to the often heavy-handed tactics of the government. These warriors, these warrior clients, need somebody who's not afraid of the government, who's willing to stand up and fight them toe-to-toe. And that's what I do. I ensure justice, fairness, and equity for all warrior clients. That's why I established the firm in 2015. What are my goals regarding the practice of law at the Law Office of Will M. Helixon? First, is to be the premier military law practice for warrior clients who are facing negative military actions. That is, I simply want to be the best. Second, I want to provide superior representation to all warrior clients, whether they're facing a court-martial, a board, or other adverse administrative action. Third, I want to provide the opportunity for clients who choose us to continue to serve in the United States Army, because that's why they gave us a call. They want another chance to continue their service, and so I want to be able to provide that to them. Fourth, I want to serve as a check and balances against the government, who's often overreaching and heavy-handed. I want to be able to stop them from taking action without considering the consequences of what they're doing. I want to stand between the government and the warrior client, providing them protection. And finally, when we have warrior clients that come to us and they're facing discharge, separation, or even jail, I want to be able to save their careers, save their retirement, and restore their honor. We are the Law Office of William Helixon. We are your warrior advocates. You defend the nation, we defend you.